Last week we went over the CSU GE sheet, which is also referred to as option B. So today we're going to go over the IGETC, which is referred to as option C. We also have an option D, but that is only used for students who are earning the biology associate's degree for transfer. So it is, can I get it there? There we go. It's the blue sheet, and you would only get that if you're a STEM major earning that associate's degree for transfer in biology. So it is not used very often. It's actually very new, so you may not even be familiar with. If you, let's say, went in and spoke to a counselor last year who mentioned getting an associate's degree for transfer in biology, you would not have been given that information. So if that is you, please reach out to me or make an appointment with a counselor to go over those options to see if that's a good fit for you. But option C is the pink sheet. So again, if you physically go in to meet with a counselor, you would be given the IGETC, which is the Intersegmental General Education Transfer Curriculum. So you can see why it's been shortened to IGETC. So the IGETC can be used when you are transferring to a UC. It will meet the general education lower division for a University of California campus. It will meet a CSU campus with specific requirements, which I'll go over. It can be used to earn an associate's degree at SRJC and meet that general education pattern. And in many cases, it's accepted at out-of-state universities as well as California independent colleges. So if you're uncertain where you're going, you're probably best following the IGETC. Remember, anything that is transferable to the UC is numbered 1 to 47. And so that's what you would see on the IGETC. And that's going to be the difference between the CSU GE sheet and the IGETC, is that the IGETC is not going to include a course like Communication 60, where the CSU GE sheet would. Okay? All right, so let's go over the sheet here. So, sorry, I'm kind of blurry up there, but that's all right. So for Area 1, you can use English 1A or ESL 10 to meet your English composition requirement. You need a critical thinking requirement. So here's one of the differences between the CSU GE sheet and the IGETC. Here you could only use philosophy 5, where for the CSU GE sheet, you could use philosophy 3. Same thing, you can have comms 9 on IGETC, but on the CSU GE sheet, you could have comms 3A. So there are some differences there, okay? So you want to pay attention for that. If you're using the IGETC to go to a CSU, you need to take speech, okay? So you have to have the oral communication requirement done, and what meets this requirement is comms 1, or if you took the class when it was under the discipline of speech, it would have been speech 1A. You need one math class. Now, your major may require more than one math class, but to meet general education, you need one math class. And you'll notice that Psych 9 is in there, so that might be an option for you. Remember, math is determined by your major. So if your major wants, let's say, Math 9, you wouldn't want to take Psych 9, okay? So you want to save yourself as much time as possible, and that's why knowing what your major is and matching up any general education will help you. So if your major requires Math 9, you take Math 9 on the general education sheet and you save yourself some time. In Area 3, you need 9 units. So you are going to take one class in the arts, okay? One class in the humanities, and the third class can come from either section. Now, the courses that are in the arts, like students go, oh, I love to dance, I'm going to take dance too. This is a theory of dance class. So it is a lecture class. It is not a hands-on class. So you should be aware of that. Same with the arts. Only Art 3 and 4 are actually a class where you are doing art. So the other ones are art history. So you really want to spend time researching what those classes are and if they will work for you. Now remember, I told you last week that the GE sheets are updated once a year. So this is the GE sheet from 1920. The 2021 has not been loaded yet at this time. One of the biggest differences on here, and you know what? Forget that I just said that because it's on the CSU GE sheet. So I'm not even going to go there. I'm not going to explain that. Okay. So 3 courses in Area 3, an arts, a humanities, and a third class from Area 3. Area 4 is also 9 units. This is the same as the CSU GE sheet where you need 3 courses, but from 2 disciplines. So you need, if you take Anthro 2 and 3, if you took Anthro 4, that's not going to meet the requirement. You need to take something outside of Anthro to meet the requirement of Area 4. Area 5 is the sciences. So 5A is a physical science. 5B is a biological science. And then you need 1 course with a lab. And so if you take Anthro 1, you can take Anthro 1L and be done with the lab. And then come up to the physical sciences and take geology without the lab. So it's your choice. Again, refer back to your major to see, does my major require some type of lab class, because then you can make that work for you. Here is a big difference. Chemistry has changed. So chemistry is now Chem 3A with a lab separate, and then Chem 1B has changed to Chem 3B, which includes the lab. So you would see that difference on this year's IGETC sheet when it gets posted. This is a requirement for the UC only. So you have to have a language other than English to meet the UC requirements of IGETC. So you can do this by taking a level 1 course at SRJC. So you could take ASL 1, you could take Italian 1, French 1, whatever, that will meet the language requirement. You could have done 2 years of a foreign language, the same foreign language in high school, and you need a C- or better. I think only in your last term. I think you can have a D. I'd have to verify that. If that's you, let me know and I can look into that for you. You need AP. You could use the SAT 2. You could have a score of 5 or higher on the IB. If you studied outside of the United States, we can use 2 years of formal schooling at the 6th grade level or higher with grades of C or better in an institution where the language of instruction is not English. So if you went to school in Mexico and you have a transcript, then we can use that to verify the load. The other thing you can do is take an achievement test administered by SRJC faculty. We do not have every language, but I'll show you on the Transfer Center page where to find that information to what languages we do have. Now, what I'll do is if a student contacts me or a counselor contacts me and says, somebody just contacted me last week, I need somebody for Hindu. That wasn't on our list because we've never had anybody test for Hindu, but I do have somebody at the college that can do Hindu. So what I do is I send out a message to the faculty asking if there's anybody on campus that could give an assessment test. I've, had somebody do it for Polish, for example. I sent that out. And the faculty enjoy it. They really like to do that and talk with students maybe in their foreign tongue. So there's a few other ways that we can do the verification as well. Remember, this is that CSU graduation requirement of 1 U.S. history and 1 political science. This does not have to be done to complete general education. It's on here because these courses are up in Area 4 and can double count for you, okay? So it's not because it has to be done, but if you want to get that completed prior to transfer, you could. And then on the back, we have some notes. There are some notes about what it means to be certified. So SRJC will certify your GE, meaning we tell the four-year university general education is done at the lower division level. There's information about taking classes for pass, no pass, those types of things. And then there's some specific campus notes. So for example, the College of Letters and Sciences at Berkeley requires IGETC to be completed. And so that is an admission requirement. For fall admission, you have to have IGETC done by the end of spring. Every single year, I get a student who was admitted to Berkeley, and usually about this time, late June, early July, they contact me in tears, usually, saying they've been informed IGETC is not done. And sometimes I can save them, sometimes I can't. So, for instance, last summer I had a student who attended another school, and I was able to look at that transcript and find the one class that met the area she was missing. Another year, a student took English 1B when she should have taken Area 1B. So in her ed plan, it said Area 1B, and she took English 1B, and they rescinded her admissions. So you want to be very careful if you're applying to the College of Letters and Sciences at UC Berkeley to make sure that you are completing IGETC. Okay, so there's a couple other notes down here that you could look at. So let me show you really quickly on the Transfer Center site where that LOTE information is. So in here, under Resources, and maybe you already saw this, here's the LOTE. And if you click on that, you can use this form and fill this out. And then we have a list of languages that we can test for, or we have somebody that can give the test for, but you could always put other and then put the language, and then we'll see if we have somebody. Okay, so that's IGETC. If you're going to use IGETC to meet your general education requirements or to transfer to the UC or the associate's degree, whatever, just be sure that you're following it. And again, match it up to your major.